Hello friends, today I'm going to show you how to find cheap real estate. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably seen and probably tired of how high real estate prices are. So how do you find cheap real estate? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to be equipped with a comprehensive strategy to identify and secure cheap real estate that you can actually utilize into different strategies that I'll talk about towards the end of this video. So what method do seasoned real estate investors utilize to pinpoint great real estate deals? How can you leverage technology, market trends, and local insights to find these hidden gems? Well, I'll detail all of that out by first explaining the method I use to find cheap real estate. Next, I'm going to cover some of the most important elements when you're looking for cheap real estate. And finally, what strategies you can deploy and take advantage of once you find cheap real estate. If you're ready, let's go. So there is cheap real estate out there, but how do you find it? Well, I'm going to break down for you exactly what I do. So number one, I have a couple different methods that I utilize to find real estate, really inexpensive, utilizing online tools. The first one, and you might think this is crazy because it's free, it's out there, but it's Zillow. I go to Zillow and I will put in filters of properties I'm looking for. When I say cheap real estate, I'm looking for property $100,000. So I'll set my filter up there, and I'm going to also filter it by just single family homes, right? I'm not looking for condos, I'm not looking for townhomes, not looking for land, apartments, multifamily, anything like that. I'm also looking for potentially homes. Now that might be the first filter I set up and I'll just start getting into it. But if I want to go a bit deeper, I might even include in those filters for sale by owner homes, or even homes that have been listed longer than maybe 90 to 120 days. Because those I know that I can get and I can put offers on at much lower prices because they haven't moved or haven't sold. So that's what I do to set up Zillow to start giving me information that I need. Now I've also gone to realtors out there that maybe have some of these cheaper homes listed that I found on Zillow, and I've asked them, listen, this is what I'm looking for. Please send me any detail or any deals that come up or across your desk, and I will utilize you as my real estate agent to find these properties. Now, once I have these things in mind, I will negotiate like crazy. My whole goal, when I find a property that I like, I want to find one that takes minimal work, if any, to get into. They might need just a little bit of cosmetic work to make them look really nice, but I'm not spending a ton of money getting them in there. I've even found homes that have had renters in there that I've purchased. And the last way that I look and find these homes is a real estate software called RealFlow. I love this software. It's amazing because I can do even deeper filters. I can look for absentee owners. I can look for pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, homes with liens on those. I can get more information about mortgages, what's owed. So it's an amazing tool. Now, it does cost money, but it is worth the money you pay to get some of the off-market deals that you otherwise might not be able to get. So now that you know exactly what I do to find cheap real estate, what are some important elements to consider once we find these homes or once we start making offers on these homes? Well, number one is the condition of the home, right? I've looked at a lot of homes, and I'll tell you one interesting aspect that I've seen every time I've been on Zillow or these other sites. If there are no pictures of the inside of the home, just pictures of the outside, chances are that home on the inside is a mess. Now, I'm not saying that's the case all the time, but that's one indicator for me that the home might not be something that I need to put an offer on. And obviously, when you're looking for cheap real estate, the home's not going to be perfect. There's going to be some challenges, there's going to be some issues, but you want to avoid major issues. I always, once I get a home under contract, I will pay for an inspection by a professional inspector to go in there and check it out. Matter of fact, I just had a home under contract not too long ago, and it looked great. It needed a little bit of finishing on the drywall, and I was maybe looking at an additional $1,000, but it was listed for $75,000. I got it under contract for $53,000. But when the inspector went in there, he said, looks like the foundation is moving or has moved, and that could be a potential issue. I backed out of the deal. I did pay money to an inspector, but it was well worth it because I do not want to dive into a money pit. The condition of the home is absolutely important when you do this, because ultimately on some of these strategies, you want to find a seller, and if it has a major issue, it's going to be really hard for you to sell that property as well. Another important element when considering cheap real estate is how rural is the home. If it is completely rural, that there's maybe 200 people in the city and the next biggest city is 500 people, and you got to drive miles and hundreds of miles to be able to get to a metropolitan area, that could be a challenge as well. Now, I'm not saying there aren't deals out there and there won't people that want to move there or live there, but that's one thing to consider is how rural the property is. Another thing is crime. I've found properties that I thought, man, this is a great deal, but when I started doing some research on the area and find out how much crime is in the area, it is a no-go for me, right? Once again, you want to consider the area that you're looking at cheap real estate and why it's so cheap could be because of the crime in that area. Now that you know how to find the property, now that you understand some of the important elements to consider when buying the property, you want to understand which strategies are out there. Obviously, you want to have that strategy in mind before you actually purchase the property, because if you don't have the end in mind, you don't want to sit on that property for a long period of time and have potential payments or fix up. If you don't have a plan to get that property up up to par where you can rent it or you can turn around and sell it, then you're going to be in a world of hurt doing that time and time again. It's really not duplicatable. And with these cheap pieces of property, the key is rinse and repeat. Find a piece of property, get utilizing the strategy, and then do it again. So here are some strategies that are potential game changers when utilizing and finding cheap real estate. Number one is wholesaling. Wholesaling is a strategy that rewards you for getting a property at a very low price. If you're doing your negotiating, you can then go to realtors, or where I like to really go, if I've got a property under contract and I can go ahead and assign that contract to somebody else and I've got it at a very low price, I will go to Facebook and I will find real estate investing groups and I will put on there on Facebook and say, listen, I've got a property, this price, you can come in at this price and you can own this piece of property, and it's typically anywhere between 15, 20, 30% higher than I've got it negotiated for. And the higher the better, probably 20 to 30%. So you can just assign that contract. That's wholesaling. So if you got a property under contract for $50,000 and you can wholesale it or assign that contract to somebody at $60,000 or $65,000 and quickly make $10,000 to $15,000, that's wholesaling. That's a great strategy for cheap real estate if you can negotiate really well. And negotiating on these cheap pieces of property is crucial for all of these strategies. So that's something you have to get really good at. Another one is just flipping the property, right? Fix and flip. Now, obviously, I said you want to find ones that don't need a lot of work, and I am not looking for ones that need work because I do not live in the area. But if you build a relationship with some real estate agents, maybe some contractors in that area, if you're doing lots of homes, then you can go in and have a team go look at it and fix it up a little bit to be able to turn around and sell it. Once again, a key component of that is getting the home at a very low price to be able to invest some money into it, to fix it and flip it. But you want no major issues, right? You want to be able to go in, do a little bit of cosmetic work, maybe put in a new water heater or something like that. But major work, you want to avoid that. Another one is a traditional rental. You buy this property, you get it at a low price for $50,000 and you can rent it out for $900, $950 a month. You're building up a rental portfolio that is really lucrative, especially the farther down the road you get. And if you got a traditional mortgage on that, your payment's going to be so low and your down payment's going to be low. So traditional rentals are also great options. And another one that I love, and this is the last one I'll talk about, and there's other strategies. This one utilizes a lease option, and I call this cash flow flipping. Now, what you do here is you get a property, you negotiate it way down. So let's say the property is listed at $70,000, and this is a real example of something that I just did. $70,000, you get it for $50,000, and I'm buying that home with cash. I'm going to a private money lender who's going to let me borrow money at 10 to 12%. Let's just say 12% to make the math easy and to give you a worst case scenario. But let's say you got that for $50,000. The private money lender is charging you 12%. That's $6,000 a year or $500 a month as an interest only payment, which is what I want. Now, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to find somebody who wants to buy the home from me 2 years down the road or 12 months down the road, 36 months down the road for $75,000, right? They're going to give me money for the option to buy that. That's money up front. They'll count towards the down payment. Let's call it $2,000 to make the math easy. And then they're going to give me a monthly payment to rent the home with a portion of that money going towards the down payment. So let's say I'm renting it to them for $1,000 a month. 100 of that a month over 24 months is going towards the down payment. So I'm going to take $100 a month times 24 is $2,400 plus the $2,000 they gave me for the option money. That's $4,400. They will count towards the down payment. And 2 years from now, they buy the home from me for $75,000. Now, understand the monthly payment they've given me for rent, I've utilized that to pay the interest only payment. At the end of the 2-year lease, I still owe $50,000. It was an interest only lease. I've only paid interest only on that loan, so I owe the whole $50,000 back. I take that $75,000 and I pay off that $50,000 and I'm left with the difference. Minus what they paid me already, plus some closing costs, I'm close to $20,000 on an investment that I took no money out of my pocket. I love this strategy as cash flow flipping because I'm cash flowing the whole time before I flip it. Now, these are strategies that I've used with cheap real estate, but I'd be interested in what you've done or what questions you have. So comment below. Let's engage in a good dialogue. As always, just for stopping by, I've got a free gift for you. It's 100% free, no obligation. It's aaronsfreetraining.com. It is a short-term rental calculator. You put in the purchase price, the income, the expenses, and it's going to do all the work and spit out to you whether it's a good deal or not. And once again, I appreciate you stopping by and watching. Have an awesome day.